things I love about the script was everything,
Right.
but
Thank you.
but the Layla character experiencing domestic violence with her son in the room, and she said he hit her because he loves her.
Yeah.
One of the message I want to get across to women: love doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
I'm sitting in a corner with my hands on my knees, watching the anger, the shouts, the screams. Broken glass on the floor, mama holding her side. I'm too young to protect her, but too old to hide. I ask with a voice that's small but true. Mommy,
Well, welcome, Miss Judith, and director Deshaun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Introduce yourself. It's my boy Jamal, the assistant director. Yes, sir.
Yeah. And so, good to have y'all.
Yes, good.
And thank you for the opportunity, and thank you for this trip and this, the project that you placed together.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
Appreciate it.
And so, all right. So, what made you want to go to, write a whole feature about a full-length film about psychological abuse and?
So, I feel like the creative process with anything is like really complicated. This script kind of wrote itself. I remember sitting down 5 years ago, and I just had a conversation with my older brother, Dejan Bowles, who at the time was endeavoring the film. And when I heard his story and what he was dealing with and so on, I was like, oh, this is actually reality. Like, film was a thing. I'm from a small town from, I'll say it, I hate doing shout-outs, but I'll say my hometown from Sanford, Florida. Small town. Oh, she made a face. She must know something about Sanford.
No one knows anything about Sanford, so that's why I was laughing.
Oh, that's why. Because no one knows what Sanford even is. But it's just like 20 minutes north of Orlando. We legit in that little spot right there. But I never even thought film was a possibility. So when he mentioned to me that he was endeavoring the film industry, I'm like, okay, this is something I've always loved film. Always been a pretty solid, okay writer. Let me try to turn something out. And 20 pages in, kind of the first portion of the Ashes of Arrest kind of materialized. And then from there, when I revisited the script, kind of just poured myself into it, some of my own personal experiences, some of my own personal feelings about certain subject matter, in particular, Khalid's relationship with his father, that dynamic, losing his parental figure, the mental, psychological toll that can take on an individual. So that's kind of really how that materialized. The story told itself, and then when it was there in front of me, I was able to pour myself into it, and that's when it became what it is now.
All right, cool. And so, with that inspiration, what made you want to include domestic violence with in your film? Did you experience any domestic violence in your relationship, or even just with family?
That's a good question. No, Olitha didn't play that. So, shout out to my mom. We never saw that in the household because she was never going for it. Whether or not I've experienced domestic violence in other ways and natures, yeah, absolutely. But I don't think that so much is what inspired this script. I think that was just a creative decision to really bring the story full circle. And then it just kind of, again, it was an idea, a concept. And then once I got to write it, it just materialized in itself on its own. And suddenly, when you just have the writing in front of you, like, oh, wow, I'm touching on so many different things, and now I can be intentional about what I'm writing. So this was just an idea, a concept that I started writing down, and then suddenly, because I see that there's a message there, I can be intentional about sending out that message. Same thing with the psychological toll on Khalid and his relationship with his father. I was able to really pour into that because there's a message there. So that's how that came about.
Yeah. And Ms. Judith, with you being an attorney, and you spoke about that you experienced something along those lines as well, like abuse, in your previous relationships. How was that?
One of the things I love about the script was everything,
Thank you.
But the Layla character experiencing domestic violence with her son in the room, and she said he hit her because he loves her.
Yeah.
One of the message I want to get across to women: love doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
And message like that to a young boy would continue the cycle, because he's going to see this, he's going to continue this and think this is normal, and that is not. I am a domestic violence attorney. I just made that up. No domestic violence attorney,
Yeah.
but I have lots of experience working with domestic violence victims. I'm an advocate. One of the most important things that made me write a book, it's called Order of Protection. It's just a piece of paper, the flee method, and how to survive domestic violence. And that I draw that from my experience as an attorney second, because of my advocacy work, and primarily because I too am one of those women that have gone through domestic violence at an early age. Fortunately, I was still living in my parents' house and they took care of that. But I want to give you some figures. The CDC 2023 report states Black women have a 22% domestic violence rate in the country. It's the second highest, behind the Alaskan Native that lives in America. Black women are 4 times more likely than white women to be fatally shot by their intimate partner.
Wow.
Black women represent nearly 30% of all domestic violence related deaths, homicide, and we only make up 8% of the United States.
Yeah.
That is an epidemic within the Black community. And in my book, The Flee Method on How to Escape Domestic Violence, I have practical steps and resources by each state, including Guam and Puerto Rico, where you can reach out to get help.
Wow. Yeah.
That's nice. Very resourceful. Very resourceful. So with you, with your profession being domestic violence attorney, with you being a domestic violence attorney, was there like an event that inspired your move towards that sector of attorney, or was that just something that spoke to you? What inspired you that career move?
I guess it's personal experience, because not only am I an advocate, I'm also a survivor. So I was drawn to do that, and I had the opportunity back in 2011 with a national domestic violence coalition to go to Congress and say, we need funding, we need these resources, because if we lose this fight, we're going to have more deaths, and we have to make sure that there are resources there for women and men who are suffering from domestic violence.
Right. So I have a question then, also, because Judith is an actor in the film, right? So what made you make that transition and switch to film? Like, what has inspired you to become an actress?
I have been in and out of the business for a little bit, since I was young, many moons ago, and I like it. I love the arts. I love supporting the arts.
I can tell.
I really love it. So, I accidentally got my SAG card. I say accidentally got my SAG card.
Yeah, that's a big accomplishment.
I don't know how. I didn't even know what it was. But I accidentally got it, but I was waiting for my bar exam to come through. So when I got my bar exam results and I passed, I went to work representing domestic violence victims.
Right, absolutely.
So, but I never gave it up because I really love the arts.
Yeah, and it was actually pretty cool when you, I I don't know if he sent me a text or an email, one or the other, but he reached out to me and you were just like, yeah, this script really resonated with me. I wanted the opportunity to kind of talk about this. Like the moment you said that, I'm like, absolutely. Like the fact that you can bridge your advocacy work, you can see yourself just as an actress, you being able to see yourself in this film is always pivotal. Like that's how you really bring the story to life. But you being able to bridge your advocacy work with the message in this film, that's me coming from a grassroots organizing background means more than anything. So, like I said, a lot of this materialized on its own, and then I was able to be intentional with it. The fact that you were able to read the script and pick up on the intentionality in that and really connect with it. That's what I love. So when you hit me up and just like, and you asked that question, like, would you be comfortable with me, having this conversation? Honestly, I should have been asking you, would you be comfortable having this conversation? Because I definitely want you to talk about this because the whole purpose of films like this is to spark conversations, to spark dialogues just like this one. So, yeah, I'm happy you did maintain your interest in film because it led you right here into this project.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
And there's one thing I want to get out to people who are trying to escape domestic violence. My book will give you a step-by-step guide and the resources. But one of the most important things you must know, never try to leave a domestic violence situation when the abuser's home. That increases the chance of death. And it's happened once too often. I just got another story here from a friend of a friend, and she still can't believe her friend is dead. Her mistake was trying to leave while the abuser was at home. They don't like to give up control.
Yeah. And when you speak about leaving while they're at home, in the sense of like them being woke or awakened, or could you explain a little bit more about leaving while they're at home?
Well, domestic violence is all about control.
Yeah.
It's not about love. It's not about anything except control. So if the abuser is going to lose control, and both men and women abuse, but differently. But the abuser does not want to lose control. They'll do anything to keep that control. And in this particular case that I'm thinking about, where it was a woman trying to leave with her bag at the door, there's going to be an altercation.
She was giving him a signal that she was leaving. So
No,
leave under
her bag was at the door, and she's saying, I'm leaving. No. Wrong time to do that. Safest way to leave is when the abuser does not know.
I've always heard about, women leaving or people leaving like while they are asleep or while they're at work or something like that. So, like you said, leaving unbeknownst. So, yeah. And so, why do you think that domestic violence is so rampant in the community?
Within our community?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. I'm gonna blame it on rap music. There's too much negativity. Young men and women, they grow up. Layla thought that this was normal. He's showing me love. That is not love. Young Khalid is seeing this and think that it's okay. We have to stop it. We have to break the cycle. We have to educate. I don't advocate locking up our men for domestic violence unless they are dangerous. One of my first cases was a young woman in nursing school with a 2-year-old and a boyfriend that was not afraid to die. And anybody who's not afraid to die is the most dangerous person on the planet.
What else was going on? I'm dead. What's going on? Yeah.
So I had to remove her. I had to get her out of the area. Phone calls, just get her out of the neighborhood. And he didn't know she was going. Again, the best way to escape is someone not known.
So my question is, what do you think would be the solution? How do we approach this? What conversation do we need to have with young black men in general, to kind of break this cycle of domestic violence?
Wait, hold on before you answer the question. So you said rap music, yes, you were blaming on rap music.
Yeah, too much
So
negativity.
But now back
too
in the
much
day,
coming out.
now back in the day, it's like 70s, 80s, because like domestic violence is that's not a new thing.
True.
So like what, I guess.
But rap music changed. When it started back in the late 80s or 80s, whenever it started in the 80s, it was all positive. It was poets putting their words. to music. It was lyrics and music. It was fabulous.
Mhm.
But somehow it got co-opted and what we now call gangster rap. And it's all about shooting, calling women derogatory names, how many people they've killed, how many times they've gone to jail. This is the wrong message. The wrong message. So if we could go back to the 80s and bring back some Barry White, when we're talking about loving.
Well, Barry Rockin, he didn't look at rap though.
I think Jamal's question though essentially is that that explains the domestic violence for our generation, but what about our grandparents' generation and the generation before that?
You're absolutely right. There are many different reasons. Domestic violence run across all races, all socioeconomic, all cultures. It really doesn't matter. The important thing is that it's the control. However, over the years, the numbers have increased, and it is an epidemic right now in the Black community.
So, and you said domestic violence is centered in control.
All about control.
All about control. So I guess, as unfortunate it is, it actually makes sense that it's an epidemic in the Black community because we have a community of people without any control, without any power. So now you have Black men coming into the households, and they have these very toxic ways of expressing or establishing power and power dynamics in their spaces, because when they go out into the world, they don't have that power. It's non-existent. So now you come into the household, and this is the space that you're supposed to occupy, that you're supposed to dominate, and now you kind of, I guess, project now on your spouse.
Correct.
So,
Yes.
so that's where this essentially is rooted in. Is this the power imbalance in our society is directly impacting our Black households, our Black families.
Absolutely, and on a larger sense, on a faith base, because I'm a woman of faith. Being Hebrew, I say that our men are not in their right place. So I do not advocate locking up our men. I believe education is the way to go on both sexes. Females have to know their worth.
Yeah.
Just because you're running around in a skinny see-through does not make you sexy. We gotta leave something to a man's imagination.
Right.
So covering up is good. And if he wants to be with you, he has to work for it. Just like, I can't remember the characters in the Bible, I can't remember the name. But he had to work 7 years to get Rebecca.
Jacob.
Thank you. So he had to work 7 years to get Rebecca. And then he got the sister, Rachel.
Yeah.
Rachel, and then he got
He's a preacher's kid.
Look, come on, Granny would be proud of you, man. Yeah.
And then he got the sister, and then he had to work some more.
Yeah.
So if a man wants to be with you, I tell my younger sisters, men do the chasing, they're the hunters. Let them hunt.
Right.
You let them know when they can catch you.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
And I have a question. So, and I know this might not correlate, but when we speak of domestic violence now, we think about, I guess like control in the sense of like narcissistic in a sense.
Yes, very
But
much.
back when, I guess 70s, 80s or something of that nature, men had a role to play. Like, it was more so. I get the question better.
I think I know where you're going.
It's a question on the role of Black men in the household. Like, once upon a time, there was this idea of what a Black man was supposed to be within a Black household.
Yeah, somewhat. Like the man was the head of the house,
Yeah.
and to have like order. Well, yeah, law of man.
I'm
the
an
man is the head of
old-fashioned
the house. Yeah,
traditional woman.
traditionally, man is the head of the
Mom
house.
back there just stuff.
I'm listening.
But traditionally, man, the man is the man of the house.
Yes.
But roles are being changed nowadays, and not to say that a man is less than a man nowadays either. But do you think that it's more so with like the domestic violence, even in like even if the roles are switched, the domestic violence in any gender? Do you think it's more so like a narcissistic or like an egotistical?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely, narcissism is involved. But I am a traditional woman. Yes, a man is still the head of the house in my world. A man is still the head of the house. That does not mean that the woman is beneath him. She's right next to him, helping him make decisions. It takes two. And the economy that we live in, oh my God. You know how they used to say Jamaicans have 3 jobs? God, we need 4.
We need 4 jobs.
We need 4.
And a side hustle just in case, you know?
Yeah, I met a couple in Kentucky, where it's an African, Jamaican and an African American Black couple. So she was a nurse, a captain in the army, and he stayed home and he raised the kids. Well, she was moving up, and I'm like, wow, this works perfectly. This is what we can do as a society, in our society. If the woman is able to make more, I don't want the man to feel as if he's less than, because we are at one. We're 2 that became 1 on marriage.
I wish it was like that, but you know. I could go off topic, but you know, when
we can have that conversation because Jelon's was back there like.
When
but he really looked like he reminisced. I wish it was like that.
I wish it was.
It's gonna be okay, boo. Tell us.
When a man, you know, when a man leads, like it's in his nature to lead, but you know, and it's all dependent on the person. Like it's all dependent on the person as well. It's not a general thing. But like when a woman get, you know, more money, they feel like they are a man. Well, they feel like they have the man's place now, and their control, like that role is switched. And from what I've seen in a woman's, you know, when she had more, she felt like she was more control. She felt like she was like more like she felt like she was a man in a sense.
I understand what you're saying.
And so.
And that's where education has to come in. We have to change our mindsets to change our physical world.
And can I speak to that too? Because exactly what you touched on. First of all, capitalism is a mother. So when people are valued, or what's the word I'm looking for? When our value is connected to our currency, that's where the problem already immediately comes in, and that's why, you know, as a community, we have a slave mentality. I got people right now. You could be at home making $5,000 a month, but a person goes in and works at a factory every day and makes just $10 an hour. For some reason, in the Black community, he has a greater value. It's that slave mentality. But to what you were saying, that is very much a commonality. I mean, and that's also, I feel like, when it comes to domestic violence, when it comes to the Black household, when it comes to hypermasculinity, all these topics, it's definitely a conversation you need to have with Black men, but also with Black women as well. Because it's very difficult for a Black man to value himself outside of just what he has economically, when his value is always determined by what he has economically by a Black woman. So if Black women are articulating to him that your value is only based upon what money you have in your pocket, it's very difficult for him to make that disconnect. So suddenly, if he's in a household where he's no longer is the head economically, suddenly that dynamic changes. So it's like it's a two-way street in which, you know, when it comes, I hear often when there's conversation about hypermasculinity and so forth and so on, and these power imbalances, how Black men, you are the problem, and almost always, we are the problem. But the problem doesn't just start with Black men. We are nurtured and raised and loved by Black women. I can speak to this myself. It was very difficult for me for a very long time to really find a balance in who I am as an individual masculinity, because I'm 5'9". I'm 5'9". I'm not a workout warrior, and I wear hoop earrings. So I like to look decent, so on. And because, you know, on outside looking in, people will applaud that. It's like, oh man, this is a man who's very comfortable in his own skin. But when you find yourself in these relationships where women determine this is what a real man looks like, or this is what a real man does, it's like, well, damn, I'm not able to be an intellectual. I'm not able to be, what's the word? They used to, metrosexual. I don't even know if that's a word anymore. They used to use that as a term. Metrosexual, that's like when men like to look good. So this man who
They have feminine characteristics.
I don't know about feminine. That feminine is a very
Well,
particular word.
Androgynous, but the way I heard about it was more feminine. That's how I heard of like in metrosexual, but I haven't used that terminology. I don't know.
Yeah, they get their facials, they get their nails done.
Care a little more.
So I guess like borderline.
Not feminine, it just they care more. They just
it's a whole
they're meticulous about their things.
Self-care.
But just the like the okay, more so self-care.
Yeah, it's
you more so into
like I'll spend an hour in the mirror, basically.
Okay.
Preparation for a day. So
when I was going, they called it a pretty boy.
See, that's the thing.
Yeah.
There's a term. There's a term for it, but now somehow you find yourself emasculated in many ways, and then at the same time too, you're emasculated while also being told that this is supposed to be okay. This is what we want from you. Like it's hard for dialogue to be around. Oh, men don't keep up on their hygiene, and then when a man keeps up on his hygiene, suddenly, you too much like a woman. You see what I'm saying?
But nowadays, it has social media have told people, men are supposed to keep with their hygienes and everything like that. But like 5-10 years ago, I was just like, what are you doing?
But I mean, that's the thing. Social media paints a picture that doesn't exist in the real world. We got a lot of women on social media who will speak down on hypermasculinity, and yet in society and in the day-to-day lives, and this is all off the top of domestic violence, but
it ties back into what Judith has said too.
It's all very connected. But in the real world, these people are feeding into hypermasculinity. Like I had a conversation with a sister a few years back. And because there's a whole thing now on social media where black women bash black men about being homophobic. And the conversation I had is there's always this dialogue around the homophobia of black men, and yet when black women want to assault a black man, they refer to him as being gay. So you're using homosexuality as an insult, suggesting that you're homophobic, and yet you crucify or you attack black men for homophobic ideology. And yet, but from day one, you're embedding ideas in them that they have to do everything they can to distance themselves from homoerotic or homophobic or anything that could be defined as homosexual.
Yeah.
And at the same time, convince them that somehow that's an issue. So basically with anything in the black community, it's very much a two-way street. And I'm gonna swing this back to Judith because I'm rambling at the moment, but
ramble on. It's all interconnected.
yes.
But I think it's just more so like insults.
Yes.
It's more so like insults. Okay.
Yeah, so that's just like you were saying with that whole imbalance in the household. All of it is a two-way street. We as black men, we often get stabbed from the front, like black women stabbing us from the front and also pushing us into the knife from behind because it's like,
damn if you do, damn if you do.
Yeah, exactly.
No stealing you from the back and pushing us around.
I mean,
dang.
Let's
crack it, Judith.
Well, one thing we have to remember that we are separate and apart from the general mainstream population. And I'm coming at this from a Hebrew perspective. So we have our own laws and orders that we have to follow to get back with our God and end this curse.
Yeah.
It is a curse.
I agree. It's very much a generational curse, something that's been carrying on for quite some time, especially within the black community. Like you said, it's an epidemic.
An epidemic.
And it's something that's bleeding into our community and destroying our community, whether it's domestic violence, whether it's in black marriages, intercommunity violence. I mean, it's so much of a layered issue. Everything that you're touching on with domestic violence, it's a trickle down effect. It's like in scripture, we talk about the anointing, flowing from the head to everyone in the household. It's like the curse that things pouring down and it's trickling down in so many different ways. So yeah.
Because we have so many things stacked against us, whether physically or religiously, and as it being a curse for us, losing our standing in the world because we ruled the world prior to this. We have to do what we have to do. And when the male and the female understand that we're not everybody else and we have to make it work for us.
Yeah.
So when I saw that couple where the woman was working and the man was raising the children and taking his wife to work and picking her up, I'm like, yes, this is what we need to do. We have to make it work for us. Flip the script. Don't look at every other culture or whatever it is other people are doing. We have to do what's good for us.
And so, with you experiencing domestic violence, how were you able to get out of, that situation that you was experiencing?
One of the most, this is when I was like 19, 18, just getting out of high school. And one of the things I am most grateful for that experience is that my father did not go to prison.
Yeah.
So
That's good. That's good. And so is that another reason why you advocate for men not going to prison? Because he was able to help you with your situation? Or because, even though I know that you love your dad, you love your father, and you don't want to see your father in jail, but did that play, I'm pretty sure it played a part, but how instrumental was that with your, advocacy now?
Important, because we need mom, dad, uncle, sister, grandpa, everybody, because it's not just affecting the woman or the male that's experiencing the domestic violence, it's the entire family, because we have had perpetrators go in and kill the entire family looking for the person he's abusing. Mm-hmm. So when I say I am happy that my father didn't go to prison, because my dad is one of those old school Jamaican, he ain't no play. So and American prisons are like resorts compared to the prisons in Jamaica, but yeah.
Oh, cool.
That's interesting, ain't it? Yeah.
Not that I'm going to prison, but this is I heard I watched a lot go there and everything. But.
Yeah. So one of the things that younger women try to do is protect their fathers, so that their fathers don't get involved and shooting or killing this man and dad goes to prison. Do not try to protect dad. Dad can protect himself, or mom or grandma or auntie will rein in dad. Tell somebody. It is so important that someone knows, because you can end up dead and nobody knows what's going on. He can take you off the street, drop you off someplace, so people must know. And that's another thing I say in my book, that you do have to tell. I like mediation. I'm a certified mediator. I love it when the community comes together, like what we did back in the days before we lost our standing in the world, is we had our elders. Mm-hmm. Council of elders. We go to our elders, we talk about it, we come up with solution. Nowadays, if the man is acting too much, he gets taken out of the home until he gets better and he healed and come back and regain his standing as the head of the household. Christ never beat his congregation. The church is the bride for Christ. So there's no abuse there. So I don't expect a man who's the physical head in this world is going to be his wife. Right. Christ never did that. You're not loving your wife like Christ loved you, because the head of the man is Christ.
That's right. Yeah, that is true. How many cases do you get from women thinking that is love? Or have we already touched on it?
No, we didn't touch on it. It all depends on the woman. It's all depending how they're raised. As in this script, Colleen is going to think that's the way I show love. If somebody doesn't break that cycle, that's not love. Love doesn't hurt.
I feel like I'm asking questions.
No, yes.
All right, cool. And your book, what's the name of your book again?
Orders of Protection. It's just a piece of paper. The FLEE method, it's an acronym on how to escape domestic violence, with resources for each state, including Guam and Puerto Rico.
And why? Okay, including Guam and Puerto Rico. All right, and cool. And what solutions do you give in your book about domestic violence? How to recognizing that it is domestic violence outside of being love when it's not love. Well, recognize that it's domestic violence when people think that it's love. recognizing that you don't have to continue to go through this, and how to get out of it. What solution do you give for those things?
First thing you have to do is recognize the signs.
Right.
Because if you're an experienced 19-year-old, you don't know what the signs are. Trying to cut you off from your family, controlling your money, separating you from your friends. I list all those emotional and physical controlling mechanism that an abuser will use. So one is the first thing is to recognize, and it is very important that we get our younger people to understand and recognize this.
Yes.
As you get older, you've lived it, you know, but at 19, I didn't know.
No, because you just started naming stuff, and I'm like, oh, well, I've been there. I don't know. What you just said? Yeah, I think we've all had those kind of experiences, but we didn't think of it as domestic violence. Just like, oh, my, that's how she is, or that's how he is, or whatever else. Yeah. That's interesting. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I had one ex-husband. I've had a couple of husbands. I had one ex-husband who tried to hold off the money. Like, my credit card doesn't work. Well, if you don't do this, then you don't get any money. Well, unfortunately for him, and fortunately for me, my father raised me to get an education. We're in America now. Get an education so you never have to depend on a man.
Yeah.
I can make my own money.
Absolutely.
Don't need you to control me.
That's good.
That's
good value to instill. That's good value.
So when are you gonna come? So tell us more about the book. Like when you're gonna, like when is it coming out? What channels we can view it on?
An order of protection is just a piece of paper that you need. The FLEE method, the 4-step method that you need to put safety planning in place. And the one thing I want to say, don't ever leave when the abuser is home. I teach you how to safely escape. There's resources in the back of the book for each state, as I mentioned before, including Guam and Puerto Rico. And it will be available on Amazon KDP.
Hey, yes.
All right, take us out.
Awesome.
I just have one more question. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're good.
How do people how do people even attempt to seek therapy when they have dealt with that for so long that it's become like a norm or it's something that we go through?
There are a lot of social work things out there. Calling one of these resources that's listed in the book, they can always refer you to therapy. Or just talking to your elders.
Elders or a friend or like a friend or someone who would listen to you.
Someone with life experience, because a teenager can't.
A child can't raise a child.
Right, a teenager can't.
No.
They need an elder. Yes, I'm big on the elder council.
Absolutely. Well, this has been amazing, Judith. We can go on this topic all day. I have so many questions and so many opinions and inputs. But Ms. Jones is in the back there, like, oh, we got other interviews to do. But this is what we're gonna do. I want to thank you for sitting down and having this conversation with us. Very much enjoyed it. Again, one more time, shout out your book. Let them know it's gonna be on Amazon. Say the name for me.
Order of protection is just a piece of paper, the FLEE method, and how to escape domestic violence. Available on Amazon KDP.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And thank you for being in this part of this project. Judith is not only an actor in this room, but she's also been legal counsel for a lot of the documentation that's been facilitated. So she's been assisting me in so many different ways. And she's been just an absolute blessing. I thank God for her every day. So thank you, Judith, and we'll wrap this interview on the cue of Ms. Jones back there who would love to rush my people.
Thank you.
Yes, don't edit that out either, Javondra. I want them to hear it.